Hello friends, this is Amy and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be looking at this little box. It was a Christmas, like a cookie tin. And this is paint that I had sitting on my shelf and I thought I'd use it. First, what I want to do is I want to scratch that tin up a little bit so the paint will adhere a little better. And before painting, you want to make sure you clean it off with some rubbing alcohol. And then just apply your paint. Let it dry in between coats if you need different coats. And this is something I had. It's like a ribbon, metal ribbon or trim that I've had sitting around and I just didn't know what to do with it. So I'm using two glues, the E6000, and going to put on some hot glue, and that'll be the instant hold. And then I'm using some clamps just to hold that in place. The E6000, they recommend 24 hours. And so I did really just let this sit overnight, because if I didn't just leave it alone, it kind of popped off again. So I just left it alone, and the next day it was fine. Just showing you what I did with it. These are one of the little candles that I make as well in my website, if you choose to check it out. Let's keep going. I got some cute things here. DIY number 2. This is a wine glass from the Dollar Tree, and because it's glass, we want to take off all the oils and dirt with your rubbing alcohol, of course. And this is a cute little salt and pepper shaker set, and I was going to just get rid of it, and I thought, no, I need to use these cute little bunnies. So again, I've got that E6000 glue out, and I'm just going to put this little bunny inside of the glass. My inspiration for this was like a cloche, but cloches I think are more expensive, and this is what I had, and so I just decided to use this glass, and I really like how it turned out. And I put the little bunny on a Jenga block there just so he was up a little bit, because if I wouldn't have, he would have kind of got lost in all that mossy greenery. This is one way of using up, if you have like I used my salt and pepper shakers, this is one way of using those things up. And this is these are those pretty flowers I got at Hobby Lobby, and just going to use those again. Those are really a good bargain. I'm sure I got those on sale even, and for the many uses I've used these for, what a good deal. And it just looks so spring-like with those pretty pink flowers against that white bunny. I looked at it and I figured that's really all I needed to do with the inside, but I wanted to put some of like the woodland green, or like a woodland look to it. And Dollar Tree, you can get these if you find them in your store, these little wood slices. So I popped one there, and then I wanted to use the other one as a lid. And I did want to make it so you cannot pull it off. And so using the two glues and then putting that other one right on top. And it was just so fun how everything just worked out size-wise. And I felt that it needed a handle. So these little mini flower pots, these are also from Dollar Tree. And decided to use one and just go with the color that I, natural wood look. And using some of the wood glue that works the best when you're gluing wood together. And then that quick hold, I'm just going to put a little bit of our hot glue on that. And then just adding in a little bit more of the greenery and the flower. This is one of my favorite ones. I just thought it turned out so pretty, and I don't know, just very like it's got that woodland look to it. It's a little feminine. It's just very Easter-like with the pinks and the green. I just think that's very pretty. And there it is, the little bunny in the little glass, and it's kind of meant to be somewhat of a cloche kind of a look, but very inexpensive. Well, let's keep going. We've got more beautiful items here. DIY number 3. These are some of the stencils that I got, and these are more of they've got the silk screen to them, meaning they're not just cut through like a normal stencil. And so it's best to take your paint and kind of drag it across rather than stipple it with a brush. And I just want to make a towel, and so I'm going to use some of my fabric paint, which is washable. And that's all it's going to be. It's just, you could use 2 different colors or whatever colors. I decided to just go with black, make it simple. I taped it down to make sure it wasn't going to move. And then you just drag it across. The fun part is when you lift it up and see what it looks like. And just be careful that you don't get the ink anywhere else, or the paint, I mean. And off it comes. Turned out pretty cute. Now with that fabric paint, they recommend, once it's dry, to iron it again. And so that'll kind of heat set it, and it's ready to go, and it'll wash up really nice. Let's keep going. We've got DIY number 4. It's a 12 by 12 inch. It's a frame, and I believe I got it at Dollar Tree. In the they've got a section where it's a little more expensive, and I think it cost $5. It could have been $3, it could have been $5. I cannot remember. Anyway, I'm using the back side, and I'm going to make this into a cute little sign. This is my vintage duck egg color, and it's so farmhouse and so pretty looking. And this is one way with your painting. These are, if you use paint, it'll make a nice stripe. And just use like this and make sure things are dried in between. And pretty soon you're going to have that nice little grain sack look. Nice and crisp. Okay, and now once I get that pulled off, make sure that's nice and dry. And I am using Iron Orchid Designs for my ink. And then I'm going to also use one of their stamps, which are really large. But right now I just want to take and put out Cottontail Farm. And I'm using that paint or the masking tape to kind of give it a guide as to how far to go down. And it did work pretty nicely to keep everything in line. And I'm just using that stamp right now just so I can see, where things are, and that I don't go too far down. And if you've got different alphabets, you can use them, like this. So you have a little bit of variety in your signage, how it looks a little different. That one I had to kind of color in a little bit, and then it looked just fine. If you had a Cricut, you could use that for this one, but I wanted to try my hand at just stamping this out to see how it looks. Now I'm getting ready to stamp that big rabbit, and use, like I said, I'm using the ink pad that they recommend, and I am just going to press it down, and make sure you press it down and let that kind of fully contact your wood, and then it'll absorb into the paint. And I did have a couple little spots, but on the whole, it looked really good. And then these are Iron Orchid design, more of an alphabet. It's called Farmhand. And we're just going to put the word feed. I wanted to put rabbit feed in there somewhere, but I just didn't have the room. And here's how it turned out. Isn't it cute? And the colors are so fun. And I also didn't show, but I went ahead and painted the trim of that in a chocolate brown color. What do you think? Isn't that cute? DIY number 5. We are moving right along here. This sign, "Gather Here with Grateful Hearts," I've had for a long time, and you know how it is, you kind of get tired of things. So I am just going to put on some Mod Podge, and I'm going to just allow that to dry. And we're going to do the technique where you can put paper on it and heat it to activate the Mod Podge stickiness. And then this is something I got from Dollar General, this little, and I know it's a rooster. And the sign is going to say something about eggs, but it's all I had. I didn't have a little hen. But here I'm just putting on some vinyl and just trying to cover up those holes. And then I'm just going to paint it black, and everything will get covered anyway. And I was going to just do the words, but then I looked at it, oh, I better do everything. And that way it blended nicely. I did go to my Cricut and do some cutting out with some words. And now that that rooster is dry, I'm going to put on their eggs. I shouldn't have said anything because most people don't even notice that, and I didn't even notice it either until I'm looking at it and going, oh, it's a rooster. But you know what? It's still farmhouse. It's okay. So we're going to put eggs on there. So this one I went with the white, and then the other part I'm going to go with black lettering. But before I did that, my sign was dry with the Mod Podge. I'm just going to put this on there, make sure everything's covered. Flip it back over, and then just put a hot iron on it, just like this. And like I said, it'll make that, stimulate that to kind of activate the glue underneath. It's just a really good way to get your paper or whatever it is you want to stick to your wood. And also, I see that it didn't show, but Farm Fresh, I did put that down to in the black, like I said. Mason jars are so fun and cute. Oh, okay, so here it is. It looks like we got things a little twisted on the film, but it's okay. And of course, we've got to put a pretty bow on there. Lovely, lovely. I love the black and white gingham. And there it is. I thought this turned out super cute too. The ones from Dollar Tree were a little smaller, and this one, like I said, I had, and that's why I chose that one, because it's bigger. So I'm not sure how well they fit on the Dollar Tree one, depending on which ones you had on hand or whatever. But all right, let's keep going. DIY number 6. What we're gonna do is make a mini pocket posy. A lot of times I'll make them with the big old cans, but I wanted to try it with a small can. And I don't know, do you see how it kind of wants to split a little bit? So I'm trying to be real careful. I kind of read up on what others do. You know, they say try and press it down where it's on the seam, but I don't know how a person could prevent that. Some of those cans, I wasn't even able to use like a can opener. It was just the weirdest bottom. So this is my, on the go try to fix this up. It was kind of sharp, and so I put some stuffing in there. And then I'm just going to put some burlap just to hold that on and to give it a little bit more cushion so, it's not sharp. All right, and I did put a piece of burlap just on the back side, and now I'm just going to use my white chalk paint and just paint that. I think I only did one coat. Maybe there was a second coat. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to cover it up with this pretty little napkin. These I got, I don't know, a couple years ago, and I still have some. What you want to do always with your napkin decoupage, you want to get it down to the very first layer. This one I believe was a 3-ply napkin. And so separate those so you're down to the very first layer, and that's what you're going to use. And it works nice to rip it rather than cut it. It's just not as evident, the edges. And then we're going to get our Mod Podge, apply that. The paint is mostly dry. And then just do your best on putting it right into place. And I used the brush to kind of brush it so it melded into those little creases, the can creases. I just love this napkin. It's so pretty. And now this is what I got at Michael's. Was it Michael's? And just thought, I'm going to put a few of these little sprigs together and pop that in for the pretty flower part. And I had tons left, so I'm sure I'll be using a little more. And this is where I wanted to put in just some floral foam and glue that down so it stayed, and then I had something to put those flowers in. I hope you're enjoying my video. They didn't take too long to do. These were really fun crafts, and I hope you can give them a try. Now I did decide I wanted to put some greenery in there as well, and that really did add a lot to it. I debated whether we should put greenery or maybe some Spanish moss, but I'm glad I went with the greenery. And then it needed a few more things. I went with this twine just to kind of give that somewhat of a prettier edge along this, to separate the bunny. And then I used the twine to make a handle as well. And I just used that hot glue to glue the twine right on the inside of the can. If if you had something where you could put a hole in the side of the can, that'd be really cute too, but that worked fine. Is that not cute? And it's small. You could put it on a little door handle, or you've just had a small spot in your house. You could even just put it up against something. It wouldn't even have to hang it. I just love how it turned out. So cute. Well, let's keep rolling here. DIY number 7. Okay, this is a framed wood sign, and I have this transfer that I have had for quite a while, and actually I've got a few for sale on my website if you want to check that out. This can be a little tricky. It's a water slide decal. And so the first thing you want to do is trim it along and get all the white off. And then there's a plastic piece that you will remove. And then make sure before you pop it in the water, get your sponge ready, and that should be dampened. And then just slide that in there. And it says to have it in there about 10 to 15 seconds. And at this point I'm going, I wonder how long. And then I could see it was kind of separating. And so then I thought, I better get that out. Once you lay that on there, that's the tricky part, is getting it laid down in the right spot. Once I laid it down there was no moving it. But once it dried, oh my gosh, so pretty. And it is a little crooked in there, but not very bad. I mean, it's not hardly noticeable. And what I ended up using was this wax. It's a gray grunge wax. Dixie Belle, I believe, is the company that makes it. And I just kind of wanted to blend it with, the picture part. And I think it really looked pretty nicely. With that wax, you can drag it a little bit and make it look like it's wood. You could do circular motions, to make it more cloudy-like. And I really do believe it turned out pretty nice with the gray, because I really wondered how was I going to make that work? I could have left it white, but I like it better this way. What do you guys think? DIY number 8. Have you guys ever picked any of these up and go, how in the world am I supposed to paint that in and make it look decent? I decided to just give this a try. Okay, so I've got the antique wax and just going to try and cover that up, wipe it away, and see what happens. And lo and behold, it is darker there. Now, in hindsight, I should have just did the whole bunny and wiped it away and just left it as that. But I wanted a white bunny. Okay, so this is what I ended up doing, and it still turned out okay, but in my opinion, this would have been perfect, a little brown bunny, and then the accents would have been darker. But now you'll know what you want to do if you see it. Okay, so I'm going, okay, I want white. Do you think the white will not stick to where the wax is? Nah. So then I'm wiping it away, and things are kind of getting, muddy in it. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to go back over it with the wax again. Let's clean this up and go over it again with the wax. So then the first time it was just really crisp. You could see the edges of all the printed words. You still can, but it was better the first time. But I did love the coloring. I thought it's just kind of, we've got that white in there and a little blotchy and imperfect kind of farmhouse French country look. And I was okay with it. So I just kind of went with it and added where I thought I needed to add a little more to pull out that wording. And the eye, I wanted that to have some light. So just take the end of a paintbrush and dot that on. And I found some cute ribbon or fabric, made a little bow. All you do is just tie a knot and snip the ends. And I laid it on there, but I thought it'd be cute if I put a little Excelsior or something on there. So I ended up getting, I believe it was just a little Spanish moss. And then I put my little ribbon on there. And since I had done a little bit on the top there, I always kind of look at that tail and think, I could do something with the tail too. This is like that thick yarn, and all I'm doing is just kind of rolling it up and gluing it in a few spots so I make a nice little bunny tail. And it already had a hanger, and there it is. I like how this little bunny turned out. What do you guys think? Now you know what can work with these, that they kind of have them all ready to go, and you know you can stain them and it works pretty good. DIY number 9. This is going to be really cute and easy. So I'm putting some Excelsior in the bottom of this. You could paint it if you wanted, but I didn't really need to because it was covered up nicely. And I like the color of the box anyway, which is actually a small, like a little frame. Now this stamp set that I used is from Stampin' Up. It's still available through the end of April. And I'm just going to stamp these out just on regular tissue paper that you would put in a gift bag. And I don't think it would matter what ink you used. I'm just choosing to use Memento. Just trying it so it doesn't, bleed when I use my Mod Podge. So again, the ripping technique. And the eggs I'm using were in a previous video. They're already colored and I've got paint kind of spattered on them. And we're going to use our Mod Podge. Apply Mod Podge, put down your tissue paper, and then another layer of Mod Podge on top. And honestly, when that dried, you really can't see the tissue paper. There was a little, you could see a little, but mostly it was blended in with the color of the egg. This is a cute way you could do, personalize these somehow, or, for little, I was thinking of like table place settings. I mean, just kind of using your imagination to come up with some cute ideas to decorate eggs. Just going to use that twine that I have out and put on a little bow. Time to glue it into its little tray, and I just used my hot glue, and you can see it's drying up really nicely where you're not even seeing the tissue paper. It almost just looks like it's stamped right on there. Well, there it is. What do you guys think? Isn't that cute? Fun and easy. We've got one more DIY, another cute little craft. Let's check it out. DIY number 10. I don't know if you had seen these at Dollar Tree years ago. It was like a set of four, I think. I think this, I'm down to the last one. So since it's glass, I'm cleaning it up with the rubbing alcohol, and I'm using the celery color in Waverly, and it was a couple of coats that I had to put on there. Let those dry in between coats. These are really thin little pieces of wood from Dollar Tree. I think it came in a set of like 8 of these little bunnies. I'm just going to do that same technique with the Mod Podge and allow that to dry, and then we'll get the iron out. This comes from, I've got a few of these spring market packets left, and it just looks so pretty and floral looking. I decided to use this on my bunny, and just going to put some heat on that. And then a nail file works really good for getting the edge off. All right, so I wanted it to have something, so I put in some of the floral foam. And this is just a stick that I had, popsicle stick, they're like wide. And just going to use that as the base. I like to use my wood glue when I can. Anytime you're going to put your wood together, that's the best. I'm not sure what I'm going to do after this Easter. I've got so many bunnies in this video. But I guess bunnies are good for springtime too. As I'm going along, I'm thinking this is getting cuter and cuter. I'm loving that green. I wanted to put a little ribbon or something, so I ended up with this lacy kind of stuff from Dollar Tree. And just going to wrap that around and put a little bow just to add to it. And then I thought it needed one more thing. And so I got out my stamps and did a stamp of the word hello on a little piece of, we've got our little wooden stick, and I cut it down. And that wood glue would work perfectly if I had enough patience to just let it dry, but of course I don't. So I ended up just putting a little glue on it. And by the time I was done with it, I glued it to the bunny anyway, so it wouldn't, I wanted it so you could see the word. And there it is. What do you guys think? Pretty cute, huh? I like how it turned out too. Well, thank you, my friends, for watching another video of mine. I truly appreciate your support, kindness, likes, and shares. Please consider subscribing if you haven't done that already. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.